Newsroom. My name is Rich Tehrani. Thanks for watching this today. We are in San Jose, California all week, meeting with some of the best and brightest companies in Silicon Valley. On our program today is Adam Stein, the Marketing Director of Mobile Iron. And Adam, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, Mobile Iron, what do you guys do?
We do mobile device management for the enterprise. So we make it safe and secure for enterprises to deploy iOS, Android, BlackBerry, Symbian, and to securely deploy applications and for people to bring their own devices to work.
So let's go through the secure aspect of it because let's say I bring in a device into work and it gets on the network and I don't tell anybody about it. Am I able to access things or am I locked out or do I need to tell the IT team? How does that work exactly?
Well, there's a phenomenon in the industry called shadow IT, which is really people bringing their own devices and finding ways to circumvent the systems.
Sure.
So you've written about this and you've heard about this. Well, what happens now is with things like Mobile Iron and mobile device management, people can bring their own devices to work, but they can't get access to email. They can't get access to Wi-Fi. They can't get access to VPN. They don't have certificate permissions to access ActiveSync, even though they do on their other computer. So with mobile device management, now they can do all of that with permission-based access.
Okay, so now if I have an iPad and I download applications which are not necessarily approved,
Yes.
but I do that at home, is that an issue for the industry trying to figure out how to manage those applications?
Apps are a big part of what's happening in the mobile workspace. If you have an iPhone or an Android device or a tablet, it doesn't matter. People want to use apps. That's the reason the data is running through the veins of these devices in the first place. They want to use more and more apps.
Sure.
And so if you load apps at home that are quote unquote blacklisted or graylisted at work, you can flag those as not permitted applications, and the IT director using things like Mobile Iron will get a flag that Rich has a device that has a unapproved application on it, and you can take an action based upon that flag.
So in the real world, how do you help your customers in terms of solving the challenges they would have if they didn't use Mobile Iron?
Sure. So 3 ways. One, they can bring in employee-owned devices, and you can have corporate-owned devices all together managed as one workforce. So that's a huge benefit across all different operating systems. So we don't care if it's iOS, Android, BlackBerry, Windows, WebOS now with HP, who's a partner of ours. We don't care. You could use any of that. So that's number one of the 3-legged stool, if you will. Number 2 is, do you have a question?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Number 2 is we can help them save costs because we can actually manage the usage of that device because we have a software agent on the device which is communicating to the back end all the time. So rather than getting a bill 30, 60 days later and go, bill shock, I can get the real-time threshold that I'm about to exceed a certain level of usage.
That's important.
And shut down the device before it goes over the waterfall.
It's very important.
Right? And number 3 is managing all the applications. If I have applications that are permitted, great. But you're in New York and I'm in San Francisco. Which applications do we get permissions to? You're in finance, I'm in HR, Jim's in manufacturing. Who gets access to what applications on what devices? That's the 3rd leg of the stool that Mobile Iron helps you manage.
And do you have classes of users, I imagine, like accounting, administration?
You can set up policies. So we can set up labels in the device. It basically says, okay, this person gets access to these policies and these permissions and these resources, and you can set that up on a very granular basis or a group basis. So all manufacturing gets these. All of HR, all of engineering gets these permissions.
What size companies typically are your customers?
Customers, we have about 700 customers today, and customers are anywhere from 100 to probably about 10,000 employees. So a lot of the Fortune 500 are our customers today.
And are there any particular markets that are more interested in your technology than others?
There are faster moving markets in the technology space. For example, Rehab Healthcare, now acquired by another company, was partnered with us with Apple. So Apple and Google and other folks partner with us extensively, and they've brought in a lot of healthcare, manufacturing, finance, education, government. But the neat thing about this, Rich, is it goes across every single vertical market because they all are using the next generation of computing devices, which are smartphones and tablets.
That's fantastic. Very exciting stuff, isn't it?
Thank you. Yeah, it is.
So what's next?
Basically, making sure people understand how to use apps in the enterprise, and the whole bring your own device strategy is a very important one for enterprises. They can save a lot of time and a lot of money and get workers more productive using their devices.
And I mean, I think you have to have a solution like this for compliance reasons and for security reasons. And
Yes.
for a whole host of other reasons.
Yes. And
Right.
be able to save time and money, and employees can access their own version of the mobile barn solution. And that is end user self-governance, which can save a lot of time and money from the help desk, because the help desk doesn't need to do everything. Employees can dial in online IP, pack it in to their own device,
No, it's really good
and
news.
lock the phone if it's lost, find it if it's lost, see what their threshold event is, get all the reporting on the device, who they've been calling, have an address book. Any kind of regulatory compliance issue is going to require that too.
Great. Well, thanks so much for being on the program.
Thank
Great
you
to
very
see
much for
again.
having me. All right.